Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Entertainment Banter. My name is Joel.
And I'm Matt.
And Matt is in the stormy weather.
Yes, I am.
Now that we got quiet for a second, I hear it.
Yeah, we got some winter weather
Apple juice
hitting the coast.
Yeah, it's hitting from all the way from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up to Maine. I'm sure it's hitting other countries too,
And
but
beyond.
nobody cares.
Canada and
Nobody cares.
nobody cares about Canada.
Nobody cares. Nobody, not even when Canada's like up in the news, we still don't care.
Right.
Nobody cares.
It's mostly hitting the Quebec side right now anyways.
Whatever.
They don't even want to be part of Canada.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Are they the Texans of Canada?
They're like, you know how like California wants to divide up into like a bazillion states?
Mm-hmm.
Quebec is like that. They're like,
No.
screw the rest of Canada.
California does not want to separate into a bunch of states. It's just a bunch of rich politicians wanted to split into a bunch of different states.
I think a lot of regular people want it switched out too because they're tired of the rich people that want to separate it out. I think the people would lose big time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been on our ballot a couple times now, and it's been voted down twice.
Barely.
Yeah, no, I know. This last one that went through, it would have put me every time I went to visit, just go down to LA, I would be crossing state borders every freaking time.
Yeah. That's all right though.
So
you know?
dumb. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about today.
The state of LA.
We are talking about the state of LA. So tonight's Entertainment Banter is about LA and Escape from LA. Oh my God, that'd be a good one. Don't you think?
Escape from LA? I haven't seen that in a long
Escape,
time.
The Escape series, like Escape from LA.
Yeah, the films.
Escape
Yeah.
from New York. I want to write that down.
All right, you write that down.
That's not
what are we talking about today? We're talking about something. This is kind of an obscure topic. I don't know why you thought this up, but we'll talk about it. I feel like we should have talked about it like at Halloween or something, but
No, I think it's appropriate now. I honestly I have like nostalgia for this movie. My dad really liked it.
okay.
And I've wanted to watch it, the Tom Cruise one, for a while now. And
We've been all about the Tom lately.
Tom Cruise, he can be he's
we love to hate him and hate to love him.
Exactly. Like he's one of those things like you just love to hate him and you just watch
Right,
it. He does do good movies. It's fun. So what we're talking about is his War of the Worlds. But not his War of the Worlds. We're going to talk about War of the Worlds in general.
As a whole. H.G. Wells broadcast.
Orson Welles. So you spell Orson Welles with an H? Horson?
Huh?
Horson Welles?
Oh, wait. H.G. Wells?
Yeah, it's H.G. Wells, but it's Orson Welles. That's his first name, Orson, right?
Yeah, it's got a G in there as his middle name. Well, what do you want to talk first? The broadcast?
Let's go let's go back in the past before we get to
let's go back
Tom
to a
Cruise.
time. May I start this? May I run with this?
Run with it.
Picture this.
Because you were during this time.
Let's go shut up. Let's go back to a time where the only way people got information was through like this source. You know, like this modern day source. And it was all kinds of misinformation that was being sent to this source. Like, I can't even possibly imagine anything today that relates to something like what happened. Like, there's no device in the world that gives out false information to masses of groups of people anymore that's at like the touch of their fingertips, like a phone or the internet or social media perhaps.
Impossible.
I can't think of a single thing that
Me
could
neither.
spread misinformation in a time where people would be stupid enough to listen to it, or have their own say. But let's get back to Orson Welles.
So let's set it. It is 1938.
So they have a radio, which obviously
Only a radio.
only a radio. But that piece of machinery, those waves,
and the mail, the Pony Express and all that.
that makes sense, right? That can easily send legitimate information nonstop. Just like the internet. The internet is everything is legit with the internet.
It's actually so reliable. We still have the emergency broadcast system through radio waves.
It's so reliable. They kicked they kicked us off of that.
They did.
You know what I mean?
They made us go all digital. They made us go digital.
They made us go all digital for that sole purpose. We were eating up too much of the little waves. You could do points, whatever, but the reality is it's still interference.
Well, just like
they kicked us off that stuff.
But just like anything else, you create this this world of like broadcast or anything. It's almost like creating more real estate. So of course, when they started broadcasting via radio, when they started doing that in the 1930s, 1920s.
Oh, it was radio. No, it was ever since they. I mean, it depends, because if you really want to go back, you know, like technically the first couple of phone calls, you know what I mean? Like
right. But as
even
soon as you
Morse code.
What I'm trying to say is, as soon as you start doing that, you people get greedy, corporate, and you start selling off like chunks of it to like real estate. That's why when the .com boom, people were buying .coms, it's buying real estate in the internet world. You bought frequencies in the radio world because that's what it was. But since they sold so much of it, it became fuzzy for what they want to do for the government. So it's still reliable. It's just they had to start. No, you gotta go. You know,
man. Okay, so here's the thing. You know, you want to talk about corporates and greed. Now, I this is way off subject, but I was thinking, like, I was reading an article today, and like, first of all, the airline business has not been doing well. They've been dropping like flies, literally from the sky.
Weird.
You know what I mean? Like, everything that was supposed to be fixed wasn't. The pandemic has put a brakes on them, and Nancy gives them a little rub down, and they're coming back a little bit. But
Nancy actually put the airlines. Pelosi.
But to be honest with you, the airlines the last couple of years have not had good news coming out. You know what I mean? Just
not
like
with that
either
Boeing.
They're shut down completely.
What is the Boeing jet that
winter
kept
weather,
down?
or pieces are falling off of them.
What was that Boeing jet, right? That 777.
It's all Boeing lately. It's bad for Boeing, which is what I was getting to. Like, how convenient once again, like conspiracy theory. How convenient once again, like, because Virgin, which was part of airlines for a while, I don't know if they still do Virgin Air as much, but they just finished their testing on their travel tube, where you can get to different places in like minutes, because it's like. I don't know if it's a vacuum sealed kind of like
Futurama-esque.
No, you joke, but they just finished testing it. And so like maybe they're, like Virgin, for example, that's a company like, fuck this. Let's get out of the airline biz. Let's just shoot people like a bullet from point A to point B. You know what I mean? And if it's faster because it's all magnetized and you got a vacuum in there, like there's no resistance whatsoever.
Right.
You're making airlines obsolete.
Well, I was talking to my sister actually the other night about, like, she's like, what's the next mode of transportation? I guess tubes could be the one between this, but teleportation would do it, and teleportation would literally overnight destroy the airline, all the travel agencies overnight.
Everything.
Devastating.
Everything. It would also probably destroy us, because I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be put back together, right? My dick would be on my forehead.
No, because you'd definitely teleport with a fly in there or something in there. Where's that from?
We'll ask Jeff Goldblum. He'll know.
Oh, is that for The Fly, right? From the movie The
Fly?
Yeah. But anyways, let's get back to 1938.
I know. Sorry, War of the Worlds.
Where let's set the moon. 1938. There is no, there's no television. It's just radio shows. People get all their information via radio.
And it was advertised as a radio show.
It was.
I think what happened was,
but you can't
tuned in randomly. You know what I mean?
Can't just tune in the middle of a radio show.
There's not like a banner that you can see that says this is not real.
But there is definitely a reason. This is the show that changed that. Every so often they'll do a break and they'll say this is a fictional thing,
right?
And they do that now because of this one incident.
Right. Well,
what was that incident?
I mean. Go ahead and just tell the incident, just in case these people, millennials and below, have no idea what we're talking about.
Gen Z, and then now soon to be Generation Alpha. Anyways.
That's a terrible name. They should not be called that.
Well, because Z is the last one now. It's
I
Alpha.
get it, but they should just call it ZZZ or something.
ZZXY.
It should never be called Alpha. Yeah.
So in 1938, H.G. Wells, Orson Welles, does a radio broadcast with a bunch of voice actors. But it's off of the War of the Worlds. And War of the Worlds, if you don't know, soon to know, is War of the Worlds is like a documentary kind of thing, like as you're going through this alien invasion of during when Orson Welles does is if Mars is invading us. Of course, we didn't know much about the Red Planet, but now we know a lot more, and especially we just landed a new
we did
Perseverance.
And when we say we, not us.
NASA.
Entertainment Banter didn't do it.
We didn't do shit. Matter of fact, I tuned in live as soon as they literally
Did you?
landed
I was
it.
actually
As
going to look for
soon-
some footage of it.
As soon as they landed it, they're like, "This is live." I'm like, "They just landed." I'm like, they all started applauding.
And then, like,
I
you see
made
the
it.
alien instantly
I
eat it.
fucking
You know what I
made
mean?
it. It was weird. It was actually a Transformer Decepticon. Anyways,
Oh, that was the worst trailer. Keep going.
so
You had to bring Bay into this,
He
didn't you?
does. He does. I didn't bring. You did. You shut up. So Orson Welles and his cast were pretty much telling the story of War of the Worlds, and how it was read was like a news broadcast. So,
Right, so they thought
if
it
you
was
didn't
live.
tune in from the beginning, you tune in middle of it. A lot of America thought we were being invaded by Mars,
Legitimately being invaded by
Legitimately.
Martians.
and it
Like,
created
people were
this-
being disintegrated before
Oh,
others'
yeah.
eyes.
And it was a big thing. Like, I was just talking
Screams
to the girlfriend about it, and she's like, "War of the Worlds." I don't think I've heard of that. And then I told her about, it's based off.
She
of
didn't know? She didn't
She
know?
didn't know about the movie when I said it, but then when I told her about the radio broadcast, she's like, "Oh, I heard about that in school." They actually teach
Oh,
it
there
in
you
school
go.
because it is a big moment in American history where
Yeah.
we didn't have television, we didn't have any of that. It was that you either got news by your neighbor, by
Yeah.
the mail, or you got it via the radio.
Well, it also just shows the power of media and how
Crazy.
easy it is to
Huge.
manipulate.
Right.
Just throwing it out there for our modern day listeners.
So then they created no one's, they're, Matt, they've already, Gen Zers and millennials already moved on. They don't know what podcasts are.
They're too busy ticking their talk.
Let alone fucking VHSs and data. An 8-track. Oh, by the way, I found an 8-track player in the garage.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
All right.
I want to know if there's any 8-tracks to play on and see if it works. But anyways,
That's funny.
so moving on. So fast forward. I don't remember the movie though. Do you remember the movie? The first movie.
The original?
Yeah, with the
I hate to say
the
it,
string. They had the string on the ships and like, and they landed on Earth.
I love those old classics. I honestly
I know.
really do. But I haven't seen that one in so long.
I
I,
know, I
remember
need to
the look
pick
of the
up.
ships. You know what I mean? Where it
They're
has, like, the
round.
little
They're
antenna.
very round, right?
They're like, yes, like kind of like a saucer, but then they
Yeah.
have like this antenna kind of thing sticking out at the top, kind of like those fish underwater. I can't remember what they're called with the supposed light, whatever. You know.
Angler
glowing.
fish.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of looked like that a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, and then of course you got the tanks that roll into the cities, and
Yeah.
the walkers. The walkers were traditional. I think they were in that one, weren't they?
Were they?
I don't know. It's
remember.
been so
were they,
long.
Were they tripods or I don't? I, have
I
to
think
go watch it
tripods
again.
were original because it
Yeah.
sounded like they were tripods in the radio drama.
You know, when
So-
when Platypus listens to this, he'll give us the 1-0 because he was
He'll
definitely
give us
he was
one.
definitely
I'm
alive during all of this.
99.9% sure. I have no idea. No, I'm I think the tripods were mentioned because as they describe the radio drama, they're describing what they're seeing.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I think they say 3-legged somethings are walking.
Right.
amongst stuff, so yeah.
So since we
Um,
didn't see the movie, let's fast forward
Recently,
to
yeah.
right. Let's go
the
fast
first
forward.
original, the first original one.
Let's fast forward to Tom Cruise's remake in
Tommy
2005, which is funny. As I was watching it, it feels more modern to me. But the newscaster in it is putting VHS tapes to show Tom Cruise when the alien
Right.
gets into the ship. I'm like, oh my god, this is that old still. 2005 VHS
Eh.
was still like a big thing.
2005.
Yeah.
Actually, no, because SVHS. Like they
Was it?
reuse, redub, scrubbing. I don't know. Sometimes they also had digital tapes back then. So it was like digital tape was kind of the thing in 2005. So towards the end of 2005, it was
Sure.
it was right before we went straight to like SD cards. We went digital,
Oh yeah.
but the problem was it was on tape, but it was still a digital code. So the problem you were running into is if there's any dust or anything on that physical tape, and it got ingrained into the tape itself, meaning like grinding in when it hit the head when it was being read, it ruined the whole thing. You got pixelization all over the place. So what they ended up doing was they got rid of the tape aspect, and it just made the digital code onto something like a flash drive or
Right.
SD card and that kind of thing. So it was like a hybrid time for film. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
Broadcasting.
Sure. But anyways,
So-
back to the movie. I remember when it first came out, there was a lot of controversy of like it was good or if it was not good. To be honest, I like it. Dakota Fanning's in it. Tom Cruise is in it.
Yeah, and that's kinda
Tom
funny, too,
Cruise's
Dakota-
ex-wife is in it, and she is definitely not someone Tom Cruise would be with. But anyways,
But well, I'm just saying, like Dakota Fanning. I mean, if you want to hear something kind of hilarious, it's like that girl. I mean, at the time she was a girl. She's obviously a grown woman now, but she was.
I thought you were gonna say man. But anyways,
I don't even know how old she was in that time.
she was
but,
born in '94, so
but she was
do the math. So she was 9.
at a very young age. She was
10.
somebody that was
11. She was 11.
choosing who she wanted to work with.
Oh yeah,
Like,
she
said-
was really into
She's like,
it.
I
She was
want
good.
to work with Tom. Like, and you know what I mean?
No.
Like, name another child actor that had that kind of pull. It's like, no, no. I want to work with Tom. And
No,
like,
she did
She
great.
works with Tom.
She did
You know
great.
what I mean?
I thought she was a
course she
great
did.
actor. She was a great actor. So
And for me, I mean, Steven Spielberg has done movies since the War of the Worlds, but I feel like I think he did Munich after. I could be wrong. I don't know. I can't remember all of the stuff he's done after, but unfortunately, I feel like Spielberg's films have I know Indiana Jones 4 was one.
It tethered down. But
and,
War of the
he did
Worlds was
Ready
still
Player
up there,
One.
I think. I know he
Yeah,
did.
he did, and that to me. But see, a lot of his films have kind of downgraded, and he also did another movie with Tom, which was Minority Report, which I thought was interesting too. So,
But that was earlier than 2005, wasn't it?
yeah, but it was like he was doing like Tom movies. He did 2 Tom movies almost back to back. I felt like, but with War of the Worlds, I didn't think it was that great of a movie, to be honest with you. It's good. I rewatch it, but it's not like a high rewatchable movie
Dude,
for me. Does
Matt,
that make sense?
They had Morgan Freeman narrate the beginning and end.
Oh well, that says it all right
Right
there.
there.
You know?
Thank you. Done.
Yeah,
Done.
I retract everything.
Thank you.
I
know.
don't.
I know you forgot. I know you forgot.
Look, Morgan Freeman was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and I thought he did an excellent job in that movie. So there you go.
I didn't see
So
that
I'll
movie.
give him credit where credit's due. Right?
Absolutely. I'm
He's
just scared when
Seven.
when
you know,
Morgan
I hate
Freeman.
Seven, but I loved him in that.
Right. Yeah. When Morgan Freeman perishes, it's gonna be awful because who's gonna narrate his death?
Well, I mean, I don't. Why you gotta always bring it to these places? Like, I don't want to
know.
think about that stuff
Okay.
right now.
All right, moving on.
All right, let's moving on. So
I did like I
uh,
liked the movie. I thought it was a good rendition of it. We don't know where they don't really in the movie they don't explain it comes from. In the radio broadcast they talk about how it was the common cold that killed off the
right.
aliens
Yeah.
because as soon as they got to Earth, they got infected and it just spread and
Yeah,
they
it's
weren't
just-
ready for it. And then people actually consider Independence Day a modern day remake of War of the Worlds because look, they came and tried to conquer our planet for resources. That's what they did in War of the Worlds.
Right.
And then they, what they did was they infected a virus, air quotes, Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith infected a virus into the mothership, which then infected all the other ships, which then they were able to take it down. So it has very big similarities to that.
Sure.
And
I
the
can see
aliens
that.
actually almost look similar in the new War of the Worlds. They almost look kind of similar to Independence Day aliens, to be honest.
Well, getting back to Spielberg, I was gonna say
Kathleen
I
Kennedy
call it
produced it.
that just means she threw money at it.
I know.
Look, Spielberg and George were people that constantly worked with Kathleen.
I know.
And the thing is,
I know.
Here's the thing. In another life, I wish we could hit reboot because, like when I first heard, I mentioned this before. When I first heard she took on Lucasfilm, I thought it was a good choice. I had no problems with her whatsoever because she had been working with Lucas for all that time.
Right.
And Spielberg. So I'm thinking, of course, that's a natural choice. But I didn't realize how batshit crazy she was. That's the only downside to
I mean,
that.
she could have gone batshit crazy recently. It could be midlife crisis, batshit crazy. It could be
Well, I
lots
mean,
of
if you
things.
grow up from, she was doing movies from like, I don't know, 70s on or maybe a little before 70s on.
Sure.
And she's living in a man's world from 70 to
Yeah.
80 to 90 to 2000 and she's got a grudge and then 50 years later she can seek her revenge on all the men of the world and so be it. Good for her.
So
Good
be
for her.
it. No, because she got Star Wars and she could ruin it for all the middle-aged men that were there.
Yeah. Well,
But-
the men are leaving, so it doesn't matter. She got her way.
Back to Spielberg and War of the Worlds.
Yeah, Spielbergisms. I always like the Spielbergisms. What I love the
What do
most
you mean,
about
isms?
he has a very fine eye for things. Like his scenes, the way he sets his scenes,
Oh, yeah.
I always really appreciate the camera movements, what's in the shot. If you pay attention, if you notice, most of the things that he does, there's like 3 to 4 or 5 things that are happening simultaneously in his shots.
Right.
So, like for example, if you're filming the back seat of a car, like if you're in the car and they're escaping, I'm making this up, but like. He's done it numerous times, but like there's a scene going on with the driving. So you see the driver, the back ahead of the driver, and you see him driving, and you see what he's going towards, and in the far distance what he's driving towards. Then, but in the rear view mirror, you see the person in the back seat's reactions, and you also see what's behind them and what's happening behind them. And then you're focused, and the radio's playing something, and it might change, like you might get interference because something else just happens to the right of them, or you know what I mean? And like one thing, like domino effects into another. And what happens with Spielberg, just like I've said time and time again, usually what causes the problem eventually like creates the solution. It's like always a kind of like the traditional thing. It's just kind of fun to watch how he does it, how he makes it happen. But I'll give you a perfect example. I don't remember it detail wise, but go back and whoever has War of the Worlds or has options to go see it, the Spielberg version. My favorite part was the part where they're trying to get on the ferry, because in that brief moment, you're what was once something people wanted instantly was the last thing they wanted. Like people rushing to the ferry, but then the aliens start to show up, and then like the ferry is in trouble, and then the people are trying to escape the ferry. Like first they're trying to get on, and it's like, oh shit, they're not going to make it. They're not going to get on. The things are coming, and then what happens is the people that got on the ferry are all screwed, and like, oh crap. And then like something happens where like they get in the water.
Well, like, it's tipped because there's one in the water.
Right. And so like, but I'm saying like you see like the people that thought they were safe the most, like in their cars, are now sinking in their cars as all this kind of stuff is happening. So like it just constantly changes with your emotions and screws with your emotions, and it's all very brief, and it's just really cool. So like just when like someone F's them, right, and then the person that F'd them gets screwed, obviously, you know what I mean, that kind of classic tale. And doing the right thing doesn't bite you in the butt kind of thing. So I don't know. I just thought it was cool, but
in that same scene, I appreciate it too because Dakota Fanny's character Rachel, she sees the tripod appear above the tree. She sees the birds going towards it, and then she sees she's like, the trees are moving, and then she grabs Tom Cruise's hand. By the way, they're all our names. It's Ray, Robbie, and Rachel. I thought that was pretty funny. Anyways,
that's funny.
So he turns around, and so does his son. So they're all three of them looking. So they show the whole crowd trying to get on the ferry, right? And then it shows them three just looking. So you see that image of like them all looking away, and then they're looking towards the alien, right? You're seeing the tripod. They're like, and all of a sudden it steps down on a tree and it goes boom, and then everyone stops and turns. I thought that was a really cool imagery. Everyone just realizes.
And then it's chaos.
Then it's chaos.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. He sets up the scenes very well, and it's very cinematic at times. You know what I mean? And he likes.
It's very well done.
He likes to create the chaos. You know what I mean? He likes to create chaos. He likes the conflict of characters. Putting conflict in characters, and then those characters are put into a conflict. You know what I'm saying?
You can actually tour the tram at Universal Studios goes through the plane crash.
Does that still exist, or did they get rid of that?
No,
now?
It's still there. I mean, last time I was there, I don't know. That was like many moons ago. Who knows? It could be Nintendo Land now. I don't know. I don't know. There was one instance in the movie, though, that bothers me, and it bothers me today. I like the movie. It's not the best movie in the world, but to me, it's a rewatchable every few years. Like, I'm like, I'm in the mood to watch this movie because it's just really interesting how it unfolds. But there is when the lightning starts and the aliens start going into their ships.
The ground.
Right.
Yeah.
That are buried in the ground very, very, very deep, apparently. Like, so deep that we never found any of them. That's my only assumption. But the issue is when all those things were happening, all power ceases, right? His watch, he shows his watch doesn't work. He shows his phone doesn't work. He tries to call on his landline, doesn't work. Electricity doesn't work. Everything's dead. Cars are all dead. They all stop where they are, right?
Right.
I mean, he does teach that one mechanic to tell him to change the solenoids, and he does, and it starts because it just blows the solenoids. I get it. But they go to the hole, and it starts happening. One of Tom Cruise's buddies has a video camcorder that works. Explain that one.
Well, that's just classic filmmaking, where it's just you sometimes allow the continuity to be broken.
It was a cool scene because he dropped the camcorder.
Isn't that he drops the camera
drops
again? That's a Spielberg
up, and it's showing like more.
See, that's a Spielbergism in my opinion. You know what I mean?
No, it was
to tell the story in a different perspective,
right?
Like other than what you're used to seeing.
Appreciate the scene, but in continuity wise, it didn't work for me.
But there's continuity issues in a lot of movies that they purposely keep,
of course.
Because they think it won't. You want to keep the flow of the story going.
Right.
I know we're running short on time, but we were talking about War of the Worlds as a whole, the story as a whole. I mean, is there something that appeals to you with that story before we sign off? Like, what made you really? I mean, was it the Tom Cruise movie, or did you just think of the idea as a whole? Like, this is like a kind of like a cult classic kind of thing that everyone in their life should at least hear or know about at some point.
That, and I just appreciate the Tom Cruise one just because it's like more of like mine, I guess, because I was I was in my early 20s when it came out, so like it was just like it felt like I was more relatable to it now, and then watching it, it's just interesting because it's an alien that comes down here and it gets infected by us, and then Morgan Freeman talks about, he doesn't mention the common cold, just talks about organisms, and he goes, man has earned its right to live on Earth. It almost seems like, if you want to get religious, it almost seems like God created Earth and gave us all these organisms to battle to get stronger by it, and these aliens are maybe his side project, and they didn't get all these organisms, and that's why they're looking for all these resources, and they found us, and they weren't ready for these organisms to be on them.
Right. No, it's interesting that you say that. It's true, because I think it's funny how humanity in these films is completely screwed. Like, if it was up to humanity, they'd be dead.
We'd be dead. Yeah, that's what he mentions into his narration.
I mean?
He goes, all of man's weapons and everything they created was no match to these beings. But what killed them was the smallest microorganism that we have grown to adapt to,
Right.
So it's just very interesting to me in that aspect. Like, if that does happen, how do we know, like, if an alien comes out, we don't get infected by what they bring us? You know what I mean? Like, it's just very...
Sure. Well, that's why everyone's rushing to Mars, but it could easily happen there.
It's very, very interesting. Yeah, we don't know. We're going to find these microorganisms that are probably still alive, and it's like, we don't know what
Aliens, man. That film scares the shit out of me. Every time I watched it as a kid, it just scared.
You mean Alien or Aliens?
Both, but Aliens is definitely by far the more freakiest one for me.
Right on.
But it's interesting though, because War of the Worlds, I always considered it like it's its first psychological thriller, right? Like, it's the first horror. I don't know if it's the first horror movie, because you had Nosferatu and all these vampire movies and stuff that were silent pictures. But I mean, like, to me,
it was like a realistic
the War of the
horror.
Worlds one was like the first, like, of the golden age, like, really starting to come up with these really good sci-fi horror films.
It's like, I call it like the unknown horror, because it's like you make stories of, like, on Earth, a werewolf, a swamp thing, like on Earth, like, okay, and these like serial killers, okay, it's on Earth, we kind of like adapt to that, but I call it scary, but it's not. But when you do unknown stories, like,
sure,
this could happen in theory, because like aliens, we don't know much about the universe at that point, so it's like,
right,
it's
better
like
than a big
unknown
large spider attacking a city or
right,
something,
because that's radioactive and we know the spider, but,
right,
but something we don't know at all of. It's just very interesting, fascinating, and scary.
But I think you're right, because in a way, if you want to believe there's life out there, right? So you still have that possibility in your head. Whereas, like, a radioactive spider, it could be something that destroys the city. It could be Spider-Man. We don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's just going to die, and you won't, or you'll get radioactive poisoning. That's it.
And I'm pretty sure we'd have enough weapons to kill a spider. I'm just.
Wasn't
saying.
that a Simpsons like episode where the guy ran out to get, and he like poured he what? I can't say the word.
I don't know.
He just like splashed himself all over with this radioactive puddle, and he came back. He goes, "Am I going to get superpowers now?" And they're like, "No, you have radioactive poisoning. You're dying." He goes, "Oh, I think it was like Adam West who did it. I don't know."
I miss Adam. All right, well, that's good. So, was that your final thought?
Yeah, now that you mentioned Adam West, that guy's an asshole, by the way. Even though he's dead.
Nah.
Oh my God,
nah.
he was at Comic-Con. He was supposed to do autographs, and he bailed. Long line. He bailed, and someone saw him later. Like, everyone assumed it was an emergency. No, he just didn't want to do it. He was just walking around the convention hall. He's like, "No, I agreed to it," and then he's like, "I refuse to do it." He didn't even tell anyone. He just didn't show up.
Well, you know what though? That's
someone kicked him. People have the right.
People have the right. People have the right to do that sometimes. So I'm not going to knock that.
Sure.
So, well, anyways, on that final note, War of the Worlds. It's a decent flick. It's not amazing. I want to go back and watch the old one, the original.
Yeah, me too.
If you have access to the old broadcast, I suggest you listen to that. I always try to listen to it once every Halloween in the car.
It could be available on YouTube.
It's totally available. You might even find it on like Amazon Prime.
Play it for your siblings.
If you have a Prime membership.
Play it for your kids. Play it for your wife, your spouse, your husband, your loved ones, and don't tell them it's a radio. Don't tell them it's a. Don't tell them it's a show. Just start playing it.
And it would help if you burst into their house and It's like, oh my God, did you
Turn
hear what's
this
going
on. Turn this on.
Actually, you know what'd be great? If somebody did it, through like, our modern day social media and just see how many stupid people. No, never mind.
There's already a bunch of that shit out there, Matt. Trust me.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like,
Mhm.
of that original one,
Right.
it's just funny. But I don't want to get in trouble because I already despise everything that we work with and deal with on a regular basis in
That's fair.
entertainment.
I mean, I'm sure there's a conspiracy theory saying that it's actually a true story and the government's just covering it up.
Right. It was true. You didn't know that? It was true.
What?
Many people were evaporated.
What?
And tripods came up out of the ground.
Jeebus, and they drank our blood?
Yeah, that's why if you walk around, some buildings kind of look like alien ships. It's because
Oh
we
my
just
gosh.
converted them into Denny's.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Denny's is so that way.
Yeah, and IHOPs. Yeah. So think about it. Next time you eat at IHOP, you might be eating inside the belly of an alien spacecraft. And on that note, thank you for listening to Entertainment Banter. My name is Matt.
And that makes me Joel. And I'm done.